Wireless pagers have simultaneously exploded across Lebanon in a coordinated attack that caused hundreds of injuries and several deaths, according to health officials. These attacks come a day after Israeli leaders warned that they were considering stepping up their attacks against Hezbollah. Hezbollah says this is the biggest security breach in its war with Israel. The world is waiting for diplomatic reaction. Reports show wounded patients with mangled hands, burn injuries to their lower bodies, ambulance sirens blasting all over Beirut. So this is a very developing story. This is just, we're seeing this happening on our social media feeds. So everything we say here is subject to reevaluation. The casualty estimates are currently all over the place, with just anywhere from just a few confirmed deaths to a massive number of deaths. But what seems to have happened is hundreds or thousands of these pagers used by alleged Hezbollah fighters all simultaneously exploded. There's video imagery all over social media. Again, I don't even know if we're able to play it. You might be seeing some of it right now when this video goes live. I don't know. If not, you can find it on X of people, in the grocery store or on the street, and their pagers explode. And if their pagers are in their pockets, there's going to be a lot of damage to their lower bodies. It's possible that bystanders certainly have been or could be injured as a result of this. Imagine if you're driving your car with your pager in your pockets and you're going to crash the car. So this is incredible. There's going to be, I would predict we're going to be hearing about a lot more casualties and damage, including to innocent bystanders. So then the question becomes, what are the and still how it was done seems unclear to me, because I don't know, but I assume you can't just make my cell phone blow up. It would have to have some kind of incendiary
device,
powder or device in it. So was the supplier of these devices to Hezbollah? It was already known that it was like that, which would take pre-planning on Israel's part, assuming it's Israel. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, firstly, it's obviously very dramatic news. It's very disturbing news in a whole lot of ways. It seems, from the reports that we have right now, almost inconceivable that all the casualties are combatants. I mean, the numbers that we're seeing, yes, subject to change, subject to revision, but it seems to me highly unlikely that everyone hit here is a Hezbollah member. I think in terms of what we do know, we know there have been escalating tensions between Lebanon and Israel as the war in Gaza approaches its year-long mark. People who are, let's say, skeptical of Benjamin Netanyahu, and I include myself among them, feel that he has some selfish reasons to prolong conflict to avoid a verdict on various things, including how the October 7th attacks happened, his own rather mediocre ratings in Israel. The Biden administration's effort, rightly or wrongly, has been to try to prevent a wider war from erupting. This obviously calls that into question.
Certainly, and while I, absolutely agree with Israel's right to kill terrorist organizations or members of terrorist organizations, there are going to be innocent casualties in pursuit of that. This is again, we're just learning about the details. The number of innocent people who are going to be harmed as a result of this seems to me that it's going to be a large number. That's going to be hard to justify to a lot of people. This is going to risk blowback, including for the U.S. We want a wider war to be contained. There is nothing contained about this. At the same time, it's a very impressive military operation to do this, and also people are going to be wondering if they can make everyone in Hezbollah's phones explode at the same time their pagers explode. Why does it take leveling all of Gaza to take out Yahya Sinwar? Why is the entire destruction, the deaths of tens of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza necessary if you can somewhat precisely target the terrorists?
Yeah. So in relation to the situation in Gaza, I mean, I don't think any serious person disputes the right of Israel to retaliate for what happened on October 7th. The problem that so many people, including me, have has been the indiscriminate nature of the destruction visited on that territory.
Share that concern very much.
It has been just enormous. Now, one of the things we do have to say here in relation to these exploding pagers in Lebanon is it obviously would one imagines it draws some sort of response from Hezbollah. Hezbollah, backed by Iran, a much bigger organization than Hamas, a much better armed organization than Hamas. So that is a part of this picture. I believe, as you and I are speaking, Israel has not claimed responsibility in some sort of official sense for this. But I mean, let's be real here. What other power other than Israel is going to want to do this kind of thing? It is true. I mean, if one parks morality and ethics for a second, it is true that the Israeli military and its security forces have the capacity to strike in rather surgical ways, including the assassination of the Hamas leader in Tehran maybe a month or two ago, Ismail Haniyeh. That was, in military terms, an impressive operation. I mean, the whole conduct of Israel's war is a very separate question about which I have very different opinions. But this is certainly a dramatic story.
Dramatic, and like the war in Gaza, somewhat indiscriminate. Again, because if people are just going about their day and then their pockets explode, or they're holding them, or they have them, or they've given them to their children,
right.
or what I mean. It would be inconceivable to not have a lot of random death and destruction, or injuries at least. Absolutely. I don't know. You know, we're seeing from the social media photos that tons of people have gone to the hospital with serious injuries. So I don't know that these explosions were so powerful that it's like you're automatically killed by it if you're in its blast, but it's going to be a lot of injured people. The hospitals are going to be overrun. And I think, I don't know what the international reaction is going to be, or the reaction from humanitarians, but even for people who think that, you know, Israel has some right to pursue action against terrorist groups, are going to say, well, that's not at any right. cost that's for civilians to pay who happen to be living alongside these people and who have very little ability to express some political opposition to right. these terrorist organizations that run the societies they live in, and now they're being blown apart for standing in close proximity to them without any warning. This seems very bad to me.
No, and
that's my gut reaction. Again, we're just learning of this.
Absolutely, and the images that we're both looking at on social media, those are obviously going to ricochet around the world. They're going to inflame all kinds of sentiment. I don't want to outrun what we know for sure, but there are certainly some reports that this has happened in Syria as well as in Lebanon. There is clearly a danger here that this sets off a whole new chain of events, which is likely to create more bloodshed in a region that doesn't need that.
Certainly doesn't need it in that region, and we do not want to be dragged into World War III because of interventions or support for what's going on in the Middle East in a way that doesn't make anyone there safer and has not benefited the U.S.'s national security. We will certainly be checking back in on this story later, tomorrow at the latest. Tune in for more Rising. Thanks.